What is going on? This is Cody, and you are tuned into B-Boy 45, broadcasting from the Seacrest Studios here at Children's Hospital, Colorado, and we have such a treat for you. We've got another special edition of the latest news to keep you in the groove with Maya. Well, Maya, why is today's edition so special?
Because Alan Tudyk is calling in.
Alan Tudyk, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you. Bring this down a little bit.
We are so excited to have you. Maya, take it away, girl.
Okay, so first of all, again, I just want to say thank you so much for calling in. I'm really excited to be talking to you.
My pleasure. Thank you. I'm glad to be talking to you too.
So my first question for you is, who or what inspired you to start acting?
Gosh, I think I was always just acting. Just before acting, I was acting out. You know, those kids that you're like, ugh. You know, my parents were always like, he's doing more stuff. He's doing more voices. He's dressed up again. He's always in costumes. I was always doing things, bringing attention to myself, sometimes not at the best times. And so I got sort of pushed. I was in public school in Texas, so I got pushed to do theater when I was in 6th grade and 7th grade, and started then and really enjoyed doing plays. And it just kind of kept going in the back of my head that it was something I might be able to do as a living up until I decided to give it a shot when I was 18 and went to college.
Oh, cool. So you've done a lot of voiceover work, including the Ice Age, Wreck-It Ralph, and Frozen movies. What's the biggest challenge of voicing an animated character?
For doing like a Disney, so the first one I did was Ice Age, like you mentioned. It was very different. Like the way that the audition process for that was they just gave me a stack of pictures of different dinosaurs, different animal dinosaurs, to come up with voices. And so there'd be like one who's like this, and then like, well, maybe he talked like this. And I go, yeah, and there'd be a line at the bottom, and it'd be like, hey, what do we, then I noticed that it's getting a little warmer. Yeah, or I guess it got colder in the Ice Age. Luckily, I didn't make that mistake in the audition. They gave me the job, and then I did I don't remember how many, except they gave me 3 voices. One of them was some big tiger, and he just has a few lines. They all did. They all just, and then one was he was called Weird Dinosaur or something. He's in there's like a convoy of people there, or they're leaving. Like, why do they call it the Ice Age? And then there was the Dodo Birds. Beware the Ice Age. It was me and 2 other guys did all of those. And so I just did a bunch of voices, and they said, yeah, called me back and said, you got 3. And then I went in and they play them for me. I'm like, all right, I'll do that then. What did I do? Because I couldn't remember any of them. And then Disney, the hardest thing to do in Disney is come up with a voice that doesn't sound like the other voices that I've done, because I did Wreck-It Ralph, which was the first one I did, and it's King Candy, who's wonderful. He's got a very distinctive voice. He seems like a very nice guy, and then he's not at all. He's evil. He turns into a bug, and he's scary. But then the Duke of Weselton from Frozen, who dances like a chicken with the face of a monkey. I fly. And so there was this older man, and then after that, they were like, why don't you do another one? So I did in Big Hero 6, I was Alistair Cray, and that's the one that was closest to my voice. He was also somebody you thought was a bad guy, but turns out he's the opposite. He turned out not to be such a bad guy, just very rich and emotionally stunted, I think. And then they said, come on and do this thing called Zootopia. And I think there was Duke Weaselton. He's tough. I kind of have to take a Claritin to get his high, because his voice is very high, but he's the one, he says, look, I'm a donut copper. And he's the little Weasley, runs around. He doesn't want to get ice. And so that was like, do a different one. And then they go, come in and do a different one. I don't know that I have any more voices. And they, but it was hey. So that was easy enough because he's just a chicken. And they'd be like, all right, so he's on the boat. And then he falls off the boat. And then he's back on the boat. And then we did, Wreck-It Ralph 2. They're like, yeah, he's this little guy. He's Mr. Knows-More. And he's like a search engine. And, that's interesting. Yeah, he wow, I have to, like when they replayed me my Knows-More, I was like, is that really me? I couldn't hear it. But isn't that interesting? And then we did Frozen. I was a couple of guys. I was like one of the king of the old king who had died. And he was just kind of a tough guy. And then Tudyk was now. And then now in Raya, I'm Tudyk. Who's this big roly-poly bug-like thing, but he's really big. He starts out small. And I just had to make cute little sounds. But then he grows up and he's really big. So I had to make all big tuck sounds. So the hardest part is me going, I hope I can come up with something new. Because I love doing these movies and it's so neat to be in them. So there's just that period where they say, you're going to be in the next movie. And there's fear that I sweat for a while until I get in the room with them and I go, okay, and we find it. And we move on.
Cool. So you guest starred in one of my favorite shows, The Rookie. Do you have any fun stories or memories from filming or working with the cast?
Nathan Fillion, who plays the rookie, is the lead. He and I are really good friends. So the whole thing was a blast. I just got to hang out with my friend. I mean, can you think like hanging out with your best friend and it's your job? I mean, that's the best job. So I don't remember. We were just hanging out. It had been so long since we hung out. Because I was off shooting in Canada and he was shooting there. So I don't know. I just remember laughing a lot, eating lots of watermelon. There was really good watermelon on set, and we ate, I think, a whole watermelon between the two of us.
So you've been in so many things, including Firefly and Suburgatory and The Tick, which my mom and I are watching right now. And you also voice the Joker and Clayface in Harley Quinn.
Right.
And then also, I know this was a while ago, but you guest starred in one of my favorite comedies, Frasier. Of all of the roles you've played, have you had a favorite project or character?
Oh, yes. Sure. I'm sure I have. Firefly, you mentioned Firefly, which was a TV show that was on so long ago now, 2003, and I flew a spaceship, and I love flying spaceships. I've now flown 3. That was my first spaceship I ever flew, crashed it. But still, they gave me the keys, and I did Rogue One, the Star Wars movie, and I was K2SO, the droid, and I flew a spaceship in that one. I crashed that one too. And then in Resident Alien, which we're doing now on SyFy, I'm an alien and I fly a spaceship and I crash it. So I've got a certain set of skills. Mine are crashing spaceships. There's also a movie called Death at a Funeral, which is there's 2 of them. They made it twice. They made this movie 2 times. Once they made it with primarily British cast. That's the one I'm in. And it's a small movie that Frank Oz directed, who does the voice of Yoda I mean, he does Yoda, but you'll know him from his voice. But he's also a puppeteer. He also does Ray Oz. Ever heard of a Muppet called Cookie Monster? He's Cookie Monster. Miss Piggy, Bert from Bert and Ernie. He's Animal. He's Animal. Cowabunga. Oh, he's so many iconic. Grover. He's Grover. Anyway, he's a great director too, a great movie director, and he directed a movie that doesn't have any Muppets in it, but it is a very funny comedy. The second one has Chris Rock and Martin Lawrence, and it's mainly a black cast. It's an American cast with African Americans, and I did the pasty white English version, and ours came out first, not like as a contest, but ours did come out first. Whatever, it's cool, and. It's really fun. I play a crazy, crazy character, and he's a very what they would call a button down. He's English. He's a solicitor. They refer to him as a solicitor, which is their word for a lawyer. And he is a little nervous because he's going to the funeral of his fiance's grandfather. And I'm nervous because her father doesn't like me. And I take what I think is a muscle relaxer kind of relaxation pill. And I accidentally take her brother's. It's a pill that doesn't agree with me. And so I go crazy. So I go to this place and I go crazy with a bunch of other people. And there's Peter Dinklage is in it and he plays a crazy character. There's so many crazy characters all in it. It's a lot. It's like madcap. It's a lot of fun.
Cool. So you wrote, directed, and starred in the web series Con Man.
Mm-hmm.
What was the inspiration behind that?
I went to when I did Firefly, the first spaceship I crashed show, I was invited to Comic-Cons. And so this was back in 2003, 2004. I had never been to one then, but I was introduced to them because they wanted to meet the cast of Firefly. They were kind of the only people at that time who knew that show existed. And I met all of these sci-fi fans, and it wasn't like the big Comic-Con that everybody sees where everybody is like, where it's thousands and thousands and thousands of people. These would be like 1,500 people, but they'd fly you to London. So you go to, I'm knocking my plan around. You'd fly to London and meet all these fans. And I met some people along the way when I started going to those. They would be sci-fi actors, people who were big in the sci-fi world, but nobody really knew them outside of the sci-fi world. And these actors, some of them, very few of them, but there were a few of them who were very bitter back then. And they were like, I'm only famous in the sci-fi world. I want to be more famous. And it was so weird. It's like, you are famous. Look at, they'd like walk into a room where all people are chanting their name and they're like, I'm not famous. And I saw it as such a, like, there was it's a tragic, a very interesting, tragic character that somebody wants something that they have and they'll never be happy if they want something that they already have. It's, first of all, it's out of their control. They're looking at it wrong, but also they already have it. So I made a show about a guy who was on a science fiction series that was similar to Firefly, and Nathan Fillion's in it. But the character that I have, his best friend becomes really famous and he doesn't. And so he's confused about where he is in life. So that was the inspiration behind it. And plus, and then because I went to all these cons, these conventions, that's what it's cons or stand is short for. Since I went to all these cons, I had all these experiences that I could draw from, where like I'd meet Darth Vader. Like there'd be a fan dressed up in a Darth Vader costume, and he's almost 7 feet tall, and he's got the breathing going, and he comes up with a picture, And then his voice comes on. He goes, could you make that out to Dave, please? And it was just stuff like that I don't think people outside of that world knew existed. So I put those types of things in it that were funny. And then the guy, this actually happened. The guy then, he had those big black gloves on and he couldn't pick up the picture. He's like, I can't. Could you help? Could you help me pick up? Thank you. So I put those kinds of things in it. It was fun.
Oh, cool. So in the beginning of your career, I know that you were in several Broadway plays. Do you have a favorite Broadway show?
A favorite Broadway show? I must. I mean, the favorite one that I was in, my experience of being in it, was Spamalot, which was the musical version of A Quest for the Holy Grail. It's a Monty Python movie, and it's very silly and very fun. And I got to play Sir Lancelot. Everybody played multiple roles. So I got to play Sir Lancelot, and I got to play the French Taunter, who's at the castle, and I guess to spit at the Kniggets. And I got to be Tim the Enchanter. I flew out on a broom with a beard, and I was way up and away. When you saw, I was like, almost at the top of the proscenium, or high above the stage. And I got to play the knight who says me, who's on stilts and was huge, 8 feet tall, had antlers and a huge beard. And it was really popular. And we had sold out shows every night. And I just had such a good time. It was such a fun, the audiences loved it. And so we were having fun and the audiences were having fun. It was just it really was magic. That was my favorite.
Cool. So you play Mr. Nobody in Doom Patrol. What's your favorite part about working on that show?
That was such a crazy show. It's such a fun. It's a crazy. I played Mr. Nobody, who has so much power. He's a villain, but he's got a lot of superpowers. And I really liked how I looked when you saw me. Like, there's two versions of my character. When you see me in the real world, you can only see half of me. He kind of lives in two different worlds, so you can only see half of him when he's there. It's one of those science fiction things. So I look really like broken up and fractured, and I look very evil. It's very fun. And then when I'm in my space, when you see him, he's living in this is how crazy the show is. He lives in the white part between the panels of a comic book. Like, it's like that. It's absurdist. He's an absurdist villain. He's even in the comic books, he's the Dadaist, which is an art movement. It's an absurdist art movement, abstract art. Anyway, I guess I liked it. I liked being the cool separated guy. It looked the most like a super villain. It was neat to see.
Oh, cool. So I love your new show, Resident Alien, which, like you said, is on SyFy. You're so good in it. Is it difficult to play an alien who's figuring out how to be human?
Yes. Well, it's fun. It is a challenge. You have to think about it. There's like some technical parts to the acting. Like, he's moving his body for the first time because he's really an alien with big eyes and 4 arms and two these cute little arms that come out, and then 2 very large arms. So he takes on this human body, and it's almost like he's a puppeteer puppeting this body around. And so I always have to remember, I tend to slouch and I stick my head forward, and it's more comfortable for me to sit like this but the alien would never sit like that, because he's sitting up straight like he's using the human body like it's supposed to be used, as the skeleton works best this way. It's the most efficient way to move. But he kind of looks like a robot when he walks, and he talks different because it's not only a different language for him, he's not used to having a tongue and teeth and all of these things. So he has to figure it out. It takes a little while before he can speak very clearly and fast. And he watches TV to do it. He watches Law and Order. So he trains watching Law and Order. He loves that show. But it makes for a lot of fun because he doesn't know anything. It's fun playing characters who don't know anything. He doesn't know how to play cards. When he picks up the cards, they're faced the wrong way, and he thinks he's doing a good job. He doesn't understand how his body works. It's very fun.
Oh, cool. If you could have any song playing to announce your entrance into a room, what song would it be?
Oh, do you have one?
I don't know. Mine changes a lot. So.
All right, let's start. What's one of them?
Okay. Right now, I have to remember what I've been listening to.
Right.
So, I'm just checking Spotify really fast.
I get it. That's where I keep my music.
Yeah. Well, I'm always listening to two artists I just have on repeat all the time, and that's Ben Platt and Asher Angel. So probably one of their songs.
Great. I think, there's so many. I love music so much. Do you like music?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's sometimes I'll be not in a great mood, and I realize, I haven't listened to any music today. And that's the only difference I have to do is put on music. And it's like, it solves problems somehow. I don't know. I think Stevie Wonder has got some great songs. There's a ridiculous song. Okay, this is a ridiculous song, and I would be playing it as a joke, but it's called Love Warrior. Love Warrior. Da, 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 da. It sounds like a TV show from the 70s or something. It's the most ridiculous song. So I would say, let me see who sings, because I don't even know. Love Warrior. It doesn't even come up. And I have it saved somewhere. Oh, Love Warrior by Kofi Brown. Cofy Brown. Anybody wants to hear that? Love Warrior action. It is. Oh, it's playing in the other room. I can't even play it here. Yes, Love Warrior. I would go with Love Warrior, or that one that goes, who's that lady? Who's that lady? Because you got to have a funky groove. I mean, it might confuse people because they're like, that's no lady. But yeah, so something fun like that.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Actually, there is another song that there's a singer. Her name's Alice. And she has a new song called Smile that I love. It is not the song that you'd expect from the name.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like obsessed with it. So I think maybe that one.
Cool. I'll check that out. All right.
So I just have two more questions for you. What personality trait has gotten you in the most trouble?
My mom used to always say, I guess she may still say it. Luckily, she hasn't said it to me in a while. You never know when to stop. Like, I used to push a joke and I push a joke and I push a joke until she would go crazy. But there's a certain percentage of times where I could push it just one step further and I could get out of it because it would make her laugh. But that was it, that I just sort of, bother authority figures. I used to do that a lot when I was a kid. If you were my teacher or whatever, or my, somebody in charge, I just like to challenge you a little bit. And any teacher that was on my level and be like, that's funny, but we got to get to work, I was right there. But if you just punished me for it, then we became sworn enemies. And I was on the warpath. I would find I drove some teachers crazy when I was little, but it's worked out okay. I don't do that as much. I try not to do it as much.
So my last question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero and why?
Oh my gosh. My buddy, Sean Petrello, I met him when I was in Dallas, when I lived in Dallas before when I was in my 20s. I just turned 20, 21. He and I did a improv comedy troupe together. Hey. That's my dog, not my hero. Raisin, come here. Raisin, get over here. Raisin, come here. Come here, kiddo. Got to make an appearance now.
Name.
Yeah, little Raisin. Come here, kid. She's there was somebody outside in the hallway and she was going crazy about it, weren't you, girl? Look at you, got stuff in your hair. Anyway, so Sean, we did a comedy troupe together, and we did clubs in town in Dallas. And now when I went away to New York, he stayed there, and he goes around to area hospitals and entertains young people in the hospitals. And that's what he does all the time. That is his life. He dresses up like a clown. And this is not the crazy, scary clowns that some people have tried to make clowns as scary. Clowns are beautiful, wonderful things. I love clowns. I have very good clown friends. I have taken clown classes. I think a clown, to be a good clown, that's a superhero. Because they don't inspire laughter, they inspire joy when they're doing it right. But that's what he does with all of his time. That's what he does with his life. And he brings a lot of joy around to the area hospitals in Dallas. And he goes there. And this is nice that we can have this conversation, but he does it every day, and has been for years and years and years. So he's a superhero, that guy, superhero joy.
Wow, that's amazing. I have to say though, I'm sorry, but I do not like clowns. They freak me out.
You've had bad clown experiences.
Yeah.
Resident Alien, the alien,
yeah.
A lot of that is clowning. There's clowning in that. He's not wearing the clown makeup, but there's clowning in that. Oh, okay, go on. I get it. There's been a lot of bad.
See, that's fine. But the makeup, I don't know. It just freaked me out.
I get it. There's a clown in Venice, California, on the boardwalk where look how cute this dog is. Oh my gosh, come on, kid.
I was about to say she's so cute.
Isn't she just the? What happened? There's a clown in Venice Beach who has dirty white makeup. It's never bright white color. It's off-white, he found it at a dumpster or something, and he makes balloon animals that you're like, what? I don't think that's any animal I've ever seen. And he's handing out, lollipops that I think he's already tried. You can't taste the lollipop and then give it out. Anyway, I get it. There's some weird clowns out there, but there's some beautiful clowns. I wish Sean could come and meet. I bet you'd be impressed. He's a pretty sweet guy.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I had so much fun talking to you. I just want to keep talking to you.
I wish I was there. We could both play with Raisin.
Yeah.
What do you say, Raise? Yes. Oh, feed me chicken. That's all she's thinking. That's all that's going through her head at all times. I want chicken. Right.
Well, thank you so much for spending time with us, for sharing all your voices and your funny stories with us. We sure enjoyed it. And just know that you're welcome here at Seacrest Studios at Children's Hospital, Colorado, anytime.
Thank you, Cody. And thank you, Maya. It was really wonderful meeting you.
You too. I'm so starstruck by you.
Don't say that in front of Raisin. She's the star. She just.
I'm starstruck by Raisin.
Hey, did you hear that, Raisin? You're a star.
Raisin, you're famous. And thanks for sharing Raisin with us, too.
Yes. All right,
Thank
cheers,
Thank
y'all.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good day.